So this is Suria. Suria, since it's the first time that we're doing something like this, why don't you introduce introduce yourself to the people.
Hello, people. My name is Suria. I have been a client, I have been a employee, and I'm now a business partner to Grassroots K9. I run and operate the Grassroots K9 Ottawa location. What else would you like to know?
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, how did you get into dogs?
Oh,
how did you
okay.
start this?
So I started to get into dogs. So I took animal care in college. It was only a year program, kind of just to kind of get the flow of things and like see what I wanted to do. And I know I wanted to work with animals ever since I was like 5. I wanted to be a veterinarian, but let's be real, who likes math that much? So instead, I got a dog, and that dog was a very bad dog. She didn't listen. She ran away from me. She resource guarded things. She was terrified of people, reactive to dogs, had separation anxiety, you name it, she had it. And I actually signed up with Grassroots K9 with a 5-day training package. So that was 5 private training sessions. And within that 5-day package, I was able to completely turn her around. And then I had the opportunity to do an apprenticeship with Grassroots K9 here, and the rest is history.
All right. So who did you do your free evaluation with?
That would have been Michael Nesbitt.
Was it the best free evaluation you've ever had?
It was not.
I'm right here. I'm right here.
It was very quick and to the point, but I knew what I wanted, and Michael was like, okay, let's get this done, and we got it done. I signed up the next day, and hey, short and sweet is the best way to be sometimes.
People may not know, but you've raised quite a few police dogs, right?
Yes, sir.
Out of the police dogs that you've raised, who was your favorite one?
That would be Lincoln.
That was a quick and easy answer.
Yeah, I didn't have to think about that. I know exactly.
I thought that was going to be a harder question. Why is Lincoln your favorite one?
Lincoln had all the characteristics of a dog I would look for myself. So he had 0 self-preservation, very forward in aggression from a young age as a puppy. He needed a little bit of work with his nose, but that's obviously something that we can work on with him. He was all around, like I said, everything I was looking for, and I don't think that I could want anything else. He was social, stable.
A little social butterfly.
A little social butterfly, confident, everything I would look for, so.
All right, so this kind of leads me to my next question.
Mm-hmm.
If you could, from the ground up, let's say you had the computer technology or whatever the smart stuff is, and you could make the best working dog for yourself, like what you would want in a dog, what would you design of that dog? How would it be?
Like physical characteristics?
Everything, physical, temperament.
Okay, so if I had to design it, if I could design a dog specifically for what I wanted, I would want a dog that is neutral in any environment, confident, who was also aggressive when I wanted him to be in the right situation. I don't want a dog-aggressive dog. Again, that neutrality is pretty important to me for people and dogs. And I think I would want the look of a German Shepherd.
Sorry, you said Malinois, right?
I believe I said German Shepherd.
I think you're pronouncing it wrong. It's a weird way to pronounce it. It must be that Brampton accent.
It could be, who knows?
Interesting. So you would pick German Shepherd look-wise over a Malinois look?
Yes.
That's very interesting.
I think that the German Shepherd look is much more, what's the word I'm looking for? So I think Malinois vary a lot in how they look. So if I said Belgian Malinois look, like it could be a French line, it could be one of those thicker. And
like German Shepherd's more consistent?
Yes, consistency, that was the word I was looking for. Thank you, Mike.
Okay. So you like the big bonedness
yes.
of a German Shepherd?
Yes, I do.
All right. So you said kind of twice now you've referenced aggression.
Mm-hmm.
What, in the context of what you're speaking about, so like police dogs, what is forward aggression?
So forward aggression to me would be a dog who is engaged or wants to engage when there's, let's say, a threat. Not even a threat. It could be anything. It could just be, I want him to be aggressive towards that thing, and he is aggressive.
All right, and what does that look like? Like, what does aggression look like? Is it like what I'm getting to? Is it like what the typical pet dog owner would think aggression is? So like snarly, or like what does that look like to you when you're saying aggression?
Not necessarily snarly, but more so I like the deep barks. I like that they are, the more, let's say, pressure is put onto them, the more they're like, well, buddy, I'm going to get you for that one. You know what I mean?
So it kind of gets the juices flowing.
It gets the juices flowing.
Gets the little sadomasochism.
Yes.
That's what you like in a dog.
Yes.
Right. All right. So I've asked, so far the interviews that I've done, all the same question. And I think it depends on the time of day and the way the sun is shining, and we get different answers from everyone. Mm-hmm. But at this moment right now, what is your favorite behavior to teach or to train a dog, and why?
I think you're right where that changes. It could be a different time of day, it could be a different time of the month, it could be a different time of the year. Right now, my favorite thing to teach a dog, I'm gonna say recall.
All right. I can dig it. I can dig it. Leading to this question now, or getting to this question from there, what do you think the top 2 most important behaviors are that for like a regular pet dog?
I personally think the top 2 behaviors any pet dog should know are, is it a behavior? Impulse control? I don't know. I would think that the behavior is more so how we would teach it to dogs, which is with our mark or place command, and the recall.
Awesome. Why are those behaviors important?
I think it's important to have really good impulse control because there are going to be situations. Dogs are opportunists, and if we give them opportunities to do something, whether a good or bad decision, they're obviously going to pick the easy way out, which is usually a bad decision. But if we've taught them really good impulse control, there's that hope that they're going to think a little bit more about their decisions and make the right choice. If you don't try to implement that impulse control with your dogs, you're probably going to be leading more into those bad behaviors. Now, recall kind of goes into that category of impulse control and kind of wanting to do the right thing or thinking about doing the right thing rather than running off and doing the wrong thing. So recall is so important because so many dogs every day run out the front door and you know something bad could happen, or you're off in the woods and they run out in the woods and you lose them. So if you have a really good recall, all of those bad things can be stopped from happening.
Well, I guess it's good that the recall right now is your favorite thing to teach dogs too.
Absolutely.
If that's one of the best things for them to know.
Yes.
Again, switch gears a little bit on you. So you and I have traveled a little bit and done seminars and like with police dogs. Has there been a dog on your travels that specifically has stood out to you that you liked for a good reason, and why was that?
That's a good question. It made me think about it for a little bit.
I'm pretty much a journalist now.
No, this is awesome. These are the questions you don't think about every day, you know what I mean? Now I gotta think back to all of our travels, where we went, who was there, what the dog was like. So one dog I'm specifically thinking about is kind of the dog that embodies everything that I just mentioned about what I look for in my own personal dog, or what I would have created if I could. And his name, I believe, is Zeke, owned by Justin Rigney. He had a very intense look about himself doing bite work. And he had that forward aggression. He was neutral in situations. He's He stands out a lot to me.
Yeah, Zeke is a pretty good dog, and he bites like a vice grip.
He does. He has a very, very hard grip.
And I think one of the things that's unique about being able to travel and do, the seminars with law enforcement around, kind of the continent, is that you get a look at, some of the strengths that are kind of consistent across the board, but also some of the weaknesses.
Yes.
So what has been like one of the common weaknesses that you've seen when you've been working with law enforcement dogs?
I think some law enforcement dogs struggle with the fend-offs.
Okay, so specific. Can you explain?
So, more specifically, if there is a suspect who they are trying to apprehend, and that suspect is trying to use something, whether it's a chair, a piece of cardboard, anything and everything, and just trying their best to keep that dog away. I think some dogs can either choose not to engage at that point, or it takes them a very long time to know or figure out what it is that we're asking them.
So, yeah, I would probably agree with you on that. Figuring their way beyond that fend off, or what the appropriate response is. Mm-hmm. All right, before we lose the last bit of sunlight that we have out here, I wanted to ask you, so you're in a unique position in that you're a civilian. You've never had any actual law enforcement experience being an officer. Mm-hmm. And you're a woman. What would you say to someone that's in a similar position to what you were in, but wants to kind of get their hands on and get into the game? What advice would you give them?
So the biggest the most important advice I could give would probably be, if you want it and it's something that you're really invested in and you know that it's your passion, don't let either of those things stand in the way. Hey, fake it till you make it, you know what I mean? Obviously, when I first started and I got into it, it was a little bit intimidating going into these situations, me being a little 5'2" female, and everybody's like 6'5", bigger dudes. I was primarily the only woman there, and once you show you have the dedication and the passion for it, the respect comes with it.
I think, to me, so Suria is one of my favorite decoys. She can work any dog that I have any day of the week. And I think it's actually really unique to adopt, different approaches, right? The way that Suria can put pressure on a dog is different than ways that I'll ever be able to put pressure on dogs, and vice versa. So being able to identify those things and figure out what your strengths are, and use them to your advantage is huge. And I think that you do that awesome and amazingly.
Thank you very much.
From just a regular person that has a pet dog that may be giving them some trouble, if they were to be looking for a dog trainer, what advice would you give them? What are some things that they could look for in a dog trainer?
So if I were to be in that person's shoes, something that I would be looking for is, do they have experience with the types of behaviors that I want my dog to be trained for? Can they explain to me the whys of what we're doing, as opposed to just, this is what we're doing and end of story? I think knowing why we do certain things and how that helps is very important, and it definitely makes the client feel a lot better about their dog trainer in general. I think if you're going to do a board and train, it's always great to make sure that you are going to get a go-home lesson. That's just what we call them, a take-home lesson, end of board and train session, however it may be. I think knowing that that's going to be at the end of those 3, 4, 5 weeks that your dog's staying with us, to know that we can transfer those skills back over to you and make sure that the training progresses when they come home.
Is any final thoughts that you would like to share with the people?
I think that if you are new to owning a dog, I think that if you are new to dog training, I think that if you are old to dog training, I think that if you are in the middle of learning dog training, I think if you are a highly known trainer, there's always room to learn. Never forget that. Amen to that, right? The learning never stops. Learning never stops. Where can the people find you? So the people can find me at Grassroots K9, letter K, number 9, Ottawa on Instagram and Facebook, as well as K9 Suria on Instagram. It's just a personal.
Suria, thanks for doing this. We're going to do a bunch more of these, and we'll dive into some more specific topics. Instead of this was just the grand opening, letting people know. And everyone else, she's already with Grassroots K9, so all the other trading companies out there, kick rocks. She's here with us.
Back off.
But thanks again for doing this, Suria.
No problem.
Now let's go work some dogs.
Let's do it.
Ciao, ciao.